Hi, welcome to Prayers Radio Conversations. I'm your host, Rich Jarvis. This is my co-host, John
Uh,
Waterhouse. This show is only about prayer. Ernest Holmes, which we call spiritual mind treatment in this philosophy. You got it, John.
Glad that everybody's joining us right now. It's wonderful to be back with you. We're going to have a great show today. We have an exceptional guest with us. We have Reverend Dr. Mike McMorrow, who for 16 years was the senior minister at Granada Hills Center for Spiritual Living in Southern California, and now serves as the regional support coordinator for Region 2, which is a very full and well-populated part of our movement. And we are delighted to have you with us today, Mike. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me today. It's delightful to be here.
Hey, Dr. Reverend Mike Morrow, can I call you Mike?
You can call me Mike. I've been called worse.
So, Mike, would you pray us in this morning?
Yeah,
That's
you
it.
bet. So if you would, uh, even if you're joining us later on this broadcast, just take a deep breath with me and feel the release as we just let go of the busyness of the day and just know with me that there is but one power, one presence, one source, one life, one living expression of the one God, expressing in, through, and as all of life. It's both impressing and expressing itself in, through, and as my life. And so, as we come together in this spirit of camaraderie and a deep connection to the sacred, we know that this divine activity of discussing prayer, the heart song offered to the living spirit, that we know that this discussion is fun and lively, informative and inspirational. And so we just release it, this activity to the divine circuits. Stay out of the way and let it flow. And so in deep gratitude, we just let it go, let it be so. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is.
So it
It
is.
is beautiful.
Wow. Hey, you have a book, right?
I do have a book.
All right, let's take a look at it. That's Blue Collar Spirituality, Finding a God That Works. That's a cool book. What's that about?
It's written for agnostics, men. Of course, it's written from a male perspective since I wrote it, but it's also written to working men uh, who uh, are working with the spirit throughout their daily life and may not recognize it. And so uh, it's part memoir, I suppose, talking about my own spiritual awakening, and some of the challenges that I had both in personal life and working life. And and then it teaches science of mind principles using construction terminology and skills. So, for instance, when you build things out of concrete, you have to build a form. And so our thought is the form, and the divine substance is the concrete. It's pliable, it can be made into really any shape. They make sculptures out of cement now, and even boat hulls. So, so it was just a way of presenting the science of mind to working people in a way that's practical. And it's a short book, but I don't even really talk about God until like there's only 5 chapters, but there's like 4 or 5. I wait till the fourth or fifth chapter before I even start talking about the God. And so that's why hopefully people will find it that they find a God that works for them in the same spirit that in 12 step, they encourage people to work with a higher power. And by generalizing it, and really universalizing it, which is what we do in the science of mind also. Uh, People can then develop a more personal and practical relationship with the divine.
That sort of goes into our first question. How does prayer show up in your life?
Yeah, so I don't know. I'll be curious to see how you guys think about this one. But in my life today, I don't know that I do an actual formal treatment per se. Uh, Although uh, I do find myself pondering spiritual matters throughout the day. And so it's more of a conscious awareness. Sometimes I have to remind myself, hey, let's bring it back, you know. Now we would call it bring it back to principle, but I don't talk to myself in those terms, um, but rather try to focus or find something going on in the day that reminds me that I am part of this thing called life, and and that what I think matters. And if I want to have a different experience, you know, it's up to me if that's to materialize and to demonstrate.
That sounds cool.
Now, I grew up well, I don't know if that's a question down the line. I mean,
Well,
I
we'll
No,
haven't,
get to
I
that's
didn't
a
that.
start
perfect place to
out.
go. That was going to be
Go
my
there.
question,
Okay, so
was to how'd you
in
find
my
science of mind?
There
yeah,
you
so
go.
in my religion of origin, you memorize prayers, and yeah, I love people who can recite things like off the top of their head, and it's something that uh, students did a lot more in school than even when I was in school, which was a while ago now. But uh, Holmes had this gift, and I'm trying to think of, oh gosh, his mind escapes me now. It'll come to me later, but this ability to recite bits of prose, like an actor does, I suppose. And so prayers were like that, and then you got graded on how well you did, which was always miserable in my case. But growing up Catholic, of course, there was a memorare, which was a prayer to Mary. There was a Confiteor, which was, the in the Catholic tradition, there's a part in the beginning of the Mass where you confess your sins. And of course, when I started, these things were in Latin. And when I became an altar boy, you had to learn these things in Latin, which my dad, being an Irish immigrant, he was good at that. And so then I got the knuckle treatment for not knowing the Latin. And then thank God it all changed to English, right in the middle of the whole thing. But we said the rosary as a family, and I would say that, and this isn't a knock on these traditional religions, but even as a young kid, I kind of had this sense that if I just came up with the right combination of words, then I could manipulate. Yeah, I wouldn't have called it manipulation then, but that's basically what I'm trying to do, like appeasing a parent to try and get something that you want. And uh,
Oh,
and as I
petitioning prayer.
became a young adult, I just pitched the idea altogether. Yeah. Although I still prayed, like, oh God, get me out of this. Kind
We
of
all do that at
foxhole
one time or
prayers.
another.
Yeah, right.
We
So
go we don't go to the we don't go to the 5-step prayer or anything like that. We go to the, oh God, I hope this works.
yeah.
No. And some say every word that comes out of our mouth and every thought that crosses our mind is a prayer.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all
Well,
impressing upon the law of spirit. So you can do it the way we do it and get the value of that, or you can do what you do,
right.
and it still is a valid thing to be saying if that's what you want to create in your life.
Well, and I think it's also, even in spiritual mind treatment, which, embraced and was kind of relieved that there was like a scientific form of prayer. I really attached to that idea. Uh, but even that, even the form is, can be loose. With new students, I try to encourage them. Just do it, man. The Spirit knows your intention. It knows your heart. You don't have to be Wordsworth or Ernest Holmes. You just have to be you, and um, and that's good enough.
It's
Because we can get superstitious in spiritual mind treatment also,
mm,
right? So it's not uncommon for new students, for instance, they'll say something, they'll slip into something, and they'll say something negative, and they go, oh God, you know, cancel. And so it's kind of fun to play with that when you catch yourself. Um, and technically, I suppose that would be part of the teaching, but Holmes stresses that it's the tendency of our thought that demonstrates.
Exactly. And the
Yeah,
emotion that goes with it.
yeah, exactly.
and the belief, I think, is the biggest thing. Is how much can you believe and how much can you conceive to believe? Because if you
Boy, if
can't
we're
conceive it,
praying
you ain't
things that we don't
believing it.
believe, we're going to get in trouble.
Exactly. Well, you're not going to get anything.
Not going to get anything. Exactly.
Well, yeah, and at the same time, I think it's important to do treatment when you really don't know what the outcome is going to be, right? Because then you're really working the edge.
Hmm.
So we don't really say "Thy will be done," but Holmes does in the textbook, right? So, but if I'm dealing with a particular challenge, so I proved this teaching myself in my construction business. And and so I was very aware that if I was dealing with a challenge, that it was my thinking that got me into this challenge, right? So sometimes my best thinking doesn't really turn out the way that I think it would or should. And so I leave the door open for spirit to do its thing. Of course, we would call that outlining if we're teaching a class about this, but we can all fall into that if we're not mindful.
Sure. It's a
That's
conscious act. And when it becomes unconscious or subconscious alone, it pulls in all that stuff that really we don't want there. We want to know the truth. We want to work from the truth. So I totally get what you're saying, Mike.
Yeah, well, and circling back to your initial question about how it works today. So really, uh, I try to focus my attention on my connection with the spirit and my oneness with the spirit. And then the odd thing that happens is many times when I have some need, it demonstrates itself, and I haven't really done a formal treatment, but I have tried to, live in gratitude. I've tried to, release, not getting too attached to any particular line of thinking, but really to work on like I did mention, that I am one with the flow of life. And Alan Watts was the guy that I was trying to think of earlier. And so I listened to a lot of him because he's very clever and in the way that he puts things together.
Right. And he was a mystic.
Yeah.
mhm.
So you can pick
A
that up real
drunken
quick
mystic,
listening to
but a
him.
mystic. Maybe that's why I like him.
That's great.
Yeah,
A rebel mystic.
A rebel
for
mystic.
sure, right? Well, and
Yeah,
Holmes was too. He just had,
absolutely.
he was a very well-mannered, maybe even a conservative, I don't know how buttoned down he was, but um,
I
and I
heard he
think
was a
it,
Republican.
well, yeah, he was certainly an
All right,
Eisenhower
no
Republican,
politics on
right?
this channel here.
So, but
No, he just followed the idea of this being a republic.
I know.
Follow the same.
yeah. Well, I spoke out at Simi Valley recently, and uh, I was speaking to that, we actually have a very conservative teaching as far as its alignment with many of the principles of conservatism. I think, beginning with our thinking makes it so. So our thinking creates its reality. So we have a teaching that has these conservative principles in it, in, of course, a movement that's very progressive. And it's interesting to see how that works itself out in the individual communities. Um,
And it does seem to work itself out.
it does. If you stay on the oneness track and remember why we're all here, and
Exactly.
and each do our own work individually, because if it's demonstrating out there, no, the work's got to be done in here first. And when enough of
Absolutely.
us are doing that, then the dust will settle.
And
Yeah,
that's about just being responsible for the circumstances and conditions of your life,
that's right.
which I don't think needs to follow a certain philosophy other than to just recognize that that's who we are, that we're the ones in charge.
Right, right.
Well,
And
host,
we are blessed to be able to live in a society that really encourages that to the extent that we can, step into that, fully,
Absolutely.
which our teaching is designed to do, right? So our teaching is really designed to help people to grow into, the next big thing. And many times people will have no idea what that is when they start out. It's just kind of some nebulous, I'm miserable. Or my life is kind of, mediocre even. And then we are exposed to the teaching, and we have this formula of spiritual mind treatment. And my approach has been always been, to experiment with it. Just the laboratory is your life. And Holmes says it too. Don't take my word for it. Prove it for yourself. Which is what makes it scientific, right? So if John can do it, then I can do it, and if we can do it, then Rich can do it, and so forth. And I've always appreciated that about the teaching.
There's a verse in Micah in the Christian Bible that says that God asks to be proven. So whether those are the thoughts of man or the divine, actually they're both the same thing. I think the idea of proving God in your life is a great exercise.
Yeah.
so how do you actually do your day? Do you wake up and just scream at the moon or the sky and say, God, I'm here? Or I mean, what do you do to prep your day, Mike?
Um, well, uh, first in all things, coffee. And
My answer.
yeah. So I usually have some spiritual book that I'm working on. Actually, this particular month, I've been working with Science of Mind magazine, which I typically don't use, to be honest with you. Uh, but the author, it's hit me, resonates with me. I have used the Science of Mind textbook, the 365. Um, I have an Emmett Fox devotional book, because that's how I found my way to Science of Mind, was through Emmett Fox, um,
Very nice.
who I found through the 12 step. So I also read 12 step things. And
Mike, don't give up on the science of mind. I did the daily guides for a couple of months from now. So
okay,
keep looking at it.
I'll keep an eye out for it.
Tyler.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
the
have to say, part of it is my own prejudice because I used to read Creative Thought,
mm,
Right.
and so Creative Thought was a little different format, and I keep kind of poking the magazine to see if we could take 1 month where practitioners just do treatments for a
I
couple
would
reasons.
love that.
One to get practitioners to buy the magazine that month to see if their name is in it. But the thing that was nice for me was because it was a much smaller magazine, so I kept it in my nail bags. And so I would have it through the day and I would work with that particular treatment through the day.
They
And
look pretty rough by the end of the day, or the end of the month.
the end of the month, yeah, for sure.
That's great.
Cover was worn and so forth. Yeah.
Well used. That's great.
so what I hear is that you do the coffee and then do the meditation in the morning with a book.
Well, my meditation, I would say, is a different thing. So I've had that goes in a cyclical thing too. I've had very formal meditation things. I have a zafu and a cushion and so forth. But these days I've taken to walk in the hills in Granada Hills, and which I discovered years back that when you're huffing and puffing up the hill, that's a very effective meditation as far because you're just focused on the breath, and I do breath meditation. I don't try to commune. I just try to be fully present in the moment, which is
Mm,
actually for me, I find a little easier when I'm hiking or walking versus on the cushion where the cushion is actually raising the bar a little higher, I would say. And but I had a health thing 2 years ago, July, and I kind of got out of that a lot. I did more prayer work than meditation. It was well, I just wasn't able to really sit for several months, and but I'm back in the pink, uh, and then Uh, life throws you a curveball. So we were re-roofing the house and then we got a freak 1 hour rainstorm. So if you hear a resonance in the room, it's because this room just got re-drywalled and the insulation pulled out and redone from the storm damage. So I'll cop to allowing myself to get pulled off of my practice from time to time.
what
I
But
think
what
anyone
got you
that
back
tells you
to it?
they don't get pulled off is not being honest with themselves and others,
right.
because we're always faced with that.
That's
There
that
are many
tricky stuff.
mornings when I'm doing my spiritual work that I have a resistance at the beginning. I always feel great afterwards,
Sure.
but getting it started, sometimes I would just want to be lazy. The trick is, don't listen to that. Keep going.
Right. That's right. You got
Like
to push
exercise.
through it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just like exercise, really.
I was
It's
just
just
going to
a
say that. Yeah.
different kind of exercise,
Yeah.
exercising your
And
mind rather than your body.
yeah, that's a great example because then you go to the gym and you start out and you're like, oh God. But you have to push through that oh God part and until you get warmed up and then, yeah.
And when
And
you're
it also
walking out of
gets
the gym, you
easier
feel
as you
great.
do it, right? As you
Right.
develop the habit. And certainly
Exactly.
meditation works that way. Yeah.
So I want to go off course for just a minute and just say to you and acknowledge you, Mike, that when our two organizations came together back a little over a decade ago, um, that you were one of the people that I really felt grateful for in an exceptional way. You're always generous and kind to me. And that wasn't always the case. There were moments of suspicion between our two organizations, and you never showed even a small iota of that in your relationship with me. And I always treasured that. And thank you for your clarity and your generosity. as we went through that.
Yeah, well, thank you, John. And you know, you and John also made it out to Granada Hills. So Granada Hills was a small little community, and he was the big chief then. He was the president of the new organization and or field leader, I guess we whatever we called
I
it
was
then.
president. I was elected twice as president. So
President, yes, we changed it to field leader after that.
yeah, that
So,
was
but at
later.
any rate, so he made it out to Granada Hills, which we were very grateful for.
I
And
And I
did
had a
too.
great time. You had a
and you know
great
that
community.
was
They were definitely a reflection of your consciousness.
Yeah.
well the everyone who was in those initial leadership groups, the leadership councils, the presidents, you know, everybody had arrows in their ass by the time that was done. And but that's what it took, right? It was expensive, you know. I mean, the cost of integration was, uh, but we're still here. We're now we really are lean, and I think have some good leadership in place, and we'll see where it goes. You know, it's definitely positioned virtually
Yes.
to see how we can maximize things going forward.
We'll
Well,
find our
Fry,
way, I'm sure. I do have
But
one more question back on task.
sure.
So for a long time, you taught treatment. You taught other people how to do that, the prayer formula that we use in our movement. Did you ever have anyone tell you they did the work and they didn't get the result they were looking for? And if you did, what did you tell them?
Yeah, well, you know, well, the textbook answer is that there's always an answer to treatment, right?
Right.
So what my approach has always been that the demonstration points the way to the next demonstration. So if so, let's just take a relationship. Somebody, you know, comes in, they want a relationship, and you know, they date somebody, and you know, one more time, it's a frog instead of a prince, right?
Right.
Well, you know, you're getting closer. You know, you had these attributes that you wanted, and you got, you know, 7 out of 10. So, to me, uh, the whatever is demonstrating is pointing to the next great thing. So I can tell you for myself, I had an experience myself as a new student. I had the construction company. And all I was doing, I was I was treating to have larger jobs because in a let's say you do a bathroom remodel, you have to bring in every single trade for a bathroom remodel that you'd have to do for an entire house. So I want to build the whole house. You know, I don't want to, you know, go crazy in this tiny little space, you know. So, but all I was demonstrating were these little dingbat jobs, you know, and I hate doing home repair, right? I just, you know, I'm a carpenter, you know, I want to build stuff. So, but all I'm doing is, you know, and I was looking for a little romance. And what was happening was all I was getting was, you know, I went to my practitioner, Nancy Woods. I said, you know, man, this stuff doesn't work, man. I'm working my ass off doing these treatments and blah, blah, blah. And she said, I said, you know, so there's something wrong with my consciousness. And she said, Mike, there's nothing wrong with your consciousness. Look at all this crap you're demonstrating. So she goes, the power is there. It just needs to be redirected. And so it's sharing stories like that. The main thing for new students is just getting people to do it and to play with it. The other place
Great.
that's good to do that is in prosperity classes. You know, one of the great things about, and you know, maybe Rich will chime in on this one, but you know, in business, you have a bottom line.
Mhm.
So it's very easy to see, you know, through your treatment work, oh, I'm more profitable or my sales are up or, you know, I'm closing more sales, whatever it is uh, whatever tool we're using to analyze it. It's a little more difficult than relationship stuff or, let's say working on, well, I suppose you could use it with weight too, because there's a number attached to it. But a lot of the things that we treat for, which add quality to our life are tough to quantify. But business is not one of those. And that's why my favorite book was Creative Mind and Success.
Good one.
That was another one of those books that I had in my toolbox that when I was a new student, read all the time, had it close by.
Well, I was going to say, even with relationships and business, you're always looking for ROI, which is return on investment. If I'm putting something out, what am I going to get back? Yeah. I mean, in our philosophy, we want to get that feeling that we have. Yeah, I got that new car, and if I got that new Porsche or Ferrari and stuff, I'm going to feel like this. Well, are you? Well, do you know what that feels like? Go drive down and maybe test drive a car.
Right.
I mean,
Well, the
that's
other thing
Developing a
though
mental
is,
equivalent.
yeah. Well, that is the mental equivalent. Is doing that.
And the affect that goes with it is definitely part of the mental equivalent.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You
That's
have to
well,
great.
have
and
some type of mental equivalent or be open to actually something greater inside of your own mind for that feeling, which, oh, okay, like candy. Oh, and now I have candy with a Coke or some drink or something. I don't know. Get more out of it. And you were talking about business, and the business is that even in your own business, you're not praying for the clients and you're not praying for that. You're praying for the feeling of what you get from those clients at the end of the day and the satisfaction you did of doing a good job or even, working with your hands, depending on what you do, that satisfaction you get, I would think. What do you think?
well, I would agree with all of that. The other question that was helpful for me was, who am I willing to be in order for this demonstration to
Okay.
write? Because there was something that had to shift within me to make it welcome. So, for instance,
Yeah.
uh, I had I had to work on my own worthiness in
Right.
order to get these larger contracts, and and I. Uh, And part of that was my own commitment to my clients' well-being.
Mhm.
And something in there shifted because at some point I realized, you know what? They're lucky to have me as a contractor because I'm committed to being honest and committed to providing a quality product within the budget. And, there are just a lot of people who don't have those kinds of commitments. uh, in business, in particular. And the thing that shifted was in Science of Mind class, I realized that the biggest impediment to me making money was that I wasn't presenting change orders and I wasn't invoicing in a timely fashion. And so I was the choke point. So a lot of it, as we were talking about earlier, was understanding where I am responsible and to do the treatment work around that. So I can treat to be, uh, I'm uh, I'm declaring that I'm a prosperous person. Okay, well, in my case, I'm a prosperous person who invoices regularly, who confidently presents change orders that are accurate and profitable, right? Those kinds of, so incorporating the characteristics of what a successful business would have in it. And to heal those parts within me, because really what it was is my own insecurity one more time, or maybe a lack of experience or lack of education, whatever. But to heal those gaps within me so that I could be more effective.
Now, we got to mention the greatest part is that you have to tell the universe what type of clients you want and how they're going to
Yes.
accept you. Because otherwise, if you get that default, you're going to get the garbage of the universe showing up because the default is that.
Well,
Not
and when
always,
you,
you know what I mean?
well, that's right. And when you trust in the flow of the universe, you can say no,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
Yeah.
And so I started learning how to say no to certain, right? Because there was a time when I gotta, you know, the mortgage is due. I gotta take this job. well, then you're busy doing that job, and then the plum shows up, and you're too busy to harvest it, right?
There you go. There you go.
So
We're at
anyway.
the 5 minute mark, so we want to shotgun the rest of the questions. Go ahead, John. You got the next one.
Well, I would want to know what it is that you'd like people to walk away from this
Oh,
conversation. Am I too early with that?
that's too early on that one. What we want to do
Okay,
is
well, we'll come
probably
back to it then.
the
You go
book.
for one.
All right. What's your favorite Ernest Holmes book?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, right, right. Yeah, well, creative mind and success, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And quote, famous quote. Do you have one of those?
And not particularly, but I did find one that appealed to me. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Here it is.
By the way, folks, this is live, so this is conversations.
Oh, I forgot about that part. Um,
I don't think we ever promised that this would be seamless.
you know,
But
I've
we can pray
lost
it
it. I
is.
poked it out on my phone. It was basically a quote that reminded me once again that the flow of life is flowing through me. I'm paraphrasing it now, and that it flows like water and seeks its own level. And so it was that passage. It's somewhere in the
Beautiful.
middle of the book.
Now,
Very nice.
I'll do the second to last question, and then John will re-ask that other question again. How do you explain this philosophy to somebody that doesn't even know anything about it? What's your elevator speech?
Well, what I tell people is that the science of mind is a spiritual practice that encourages us to uh, uh, through our connection with the spirit and our focus on right thinking, that we can affect change for good in our life and the life of others.
Very nice.
Mm.
Very nice. Okay, what do you want people to walk away with after watching this amazing conversation?
Well, I suppose to just remember that we have this wonderful tool, spiritual mind treatment, and to use it. That even as I'm kind of telling on myself on the ways that I can be lax, that if in listening to this you could go, oh yeah, I kind of do that. Well, then maybe you and I can make a commitment to each other, one day at a time, to
Beautiful.
find time to even to do even a formal spiritual mind treatment, particularly with all that's going on in the world right now. It's important to add our consciousness to the collective consciousness, to know that uh, that we are powerful because we are thinking into this field of mind that's always responding to us in the affirmative, and to remember that in a more conscious way. Dennis Jones talked about the ABCs of consciousness, which was awareness builds consciousness,
Right.
and to walk away, or to walk around in the world, in a more conscious way, awake, alert, awake, and aware, that there's another way of being in the world, without getting ensnared by it.
Wonderful.
Beautiful. And I
Hey,
would add to what you just said, the idea that we probably all underestimate the impact of our consciousness on the
Yes.
world because we're
mhm.
only one of billions, but the truth is that it really does have an impact. Good
Right.
for you. Thank you, Mike.
Well, and if you think about it, like rain, it took every drop of rain that ever was to make an ocean, right? So,
Exactly.
so every thought, if it's a drop, is adding to that ocean of good. So,
Indeed, it is.
yeah.
So let's go ahead and close this out. We're going to go ahead and plug your book one more time, Mike, if you would. Hold it up for the audience. And we will make sure that it's in the show notes. That's Blue Collar Spirituality. And again, was over at Granada Hills, so you can see a lot of his talks there still on the social media and YouTube, I imagine.
Mhm.
And I'm Prayers Radio, and we're just happy to have you all here. And John, how can they find you?
Well, they can certainly find my latest book, which was just released and is available on Amazon as we speak. And this is what it looks like. It's called Spirits Awakening, Reflections on a Spiritual Journey. And it is my memoir, but also talks about how these ideas of spiritual awakenings work in our lives and how they make a difference. You can also find me on my other online experience, which is called Higher Reality on the Edge of Understanding. That's a podcast that I do with Reverend Lawrence DeRusha, and it's available through Mystic Living Press at substack.com. Mystic Living Press at substack.com. Come see us there. We're having a good time.
We'll have
Thank you, Rick.
everything inside the show. Oh, you bet, John. We'll have everything inside of the show notes. And Mike, would you pray us out, please?
Yeah, sure. So again, taking a breath in gratitude, gratitude for the time spent here this morning, witnessing each to the other the power of the living spirit through uh, our tool, its tool, our tool of that we call spiritual mind treatment. That we know that we have been enriched by this experience, that our hearts have been opened, our mind has been expanded, that our consciousness is opening even now to, in ways of love, to encompass all in the world, that we are knowing in this moment that discord of any kind is finding its way to healing, that we move forward from this day with a commitment to our own healed life, expressing itself in myriad of ways, in the ways of the heart, the pocketbook, career, and health, that we are strong, vibrant, and prosperous. And so we just, having set this intention and spoken our word, knowing that our word has power, that our word is spiritual law, we release it now to that law of mine that says, yes, my beloved, yes, in you I am well pleased. It is done. It is so. We let it go. And so it is.
So it
So it
is.
is.
Thank you,
Well,
Mike.
we
Thank
appreciate you, Mike. Hey, everybody, join us next week for another exciting adventure at Prayers Radio. Like, subscribe, or support us. Click on the button there and go ahead and check us out. And just remember, if you don't say a prayer, you ain't got a prayer. Bye.
like that. That's clever.
Your prayer is mine.